So we've got a number of teams that have been working very busily on a hackathon, and they are now eagerly waiting the results. And I've got the results here. But we're still going to keep them in suspense a little bit longer. Because here we're talking about the next generation of agri-food talents. And so this COP is a lot about implementation. If we talk about implementation, we have to talk about skills. And unfortunately, there's not been a huge amount that's been going on skills. So we thought we wanted to open the conversation and see what we can actually sort of achieve when we actually think about skills, the skills for the future. What do we need to have? And I think a key starting point here is, well, we need to have some action. But what are the challenges actually that we're talking about? So maybe if we could have the first video, so the slide deck on, please, then we can at least start to think about what are the challenges that we're trying to overcome here.
The emerging climate and environmental crisis, and the interconnected health challenges of hunger, malnutrition, and obesity call for urgent
the wrong video.
interventions. We need a mind shift in the way we produce and consume food, through better management of natural.
It needs to be the PowerPoint presentation, please. It's not working. Right. Well, then I will do it. I can do it. We had some very nice images, but unfortunately, the tech is not working. You'll always see that that's the case, but hey ho. The challenge that we're seeing is, so my perspective is from Europe. And within Europe, we've got already more than 40 million, that's 40 million people working in agri-food, the entire food system, including retail, including catering and hospitality, etc. Over 40 million. That's a staggering amount. Now multiply that to think about the global number. And if we add smallholder farmers to that, we're talking about over 1 billion people that are in some way involved in food production. Climate change is going to significantly affect how they are going to produce, but also how they're going to work with food. What is going to be happening there? So what do they need? Well, actually, we talked with a large number of organizations and farmers to actually understand what are their particular needs, what are their particular challenges that they see with the future workforce. One is that it's very clear that the skill level that we need is going to go up. So the number of low-skilled people in the sector is going to come down, but the number of highly skilled people that we need is going to go up. So we need to work with that. Employers find it very difficult to understand actually what people's skill attainment is, and whether or not for particularly innovation and to drive sort of new product development, new business model development, whether they've got the right kind of ideas as well. So whether they've got the right skills. So that is a component. When job seekers are coming into the market, they find it very difficult to actually evidence that they have particular skills. So we need to think about this more holistically. We need to have the right frameworks and tools in order to help with that. As a whole, we actually therefore need to professionalize how we think about training in agri-food, in the entire food system. And so today we want to talk a little bit about that, looking both at the level of professionals that are already working in the sector. So here, this is that very big number of people that are already working in agri-food in some way. We also need to listen to students, to young people that are actually already involved in education and that are helping shape the education that they want to have. And finally, we need to think about what's the next generation of people coming into the food system. What do we do with them? How do we help them get excited about a career in the food system? And to actually think about, well, what are the innovations that are required there? So today we want to focus on all three of those bits. It's going to be relatively short and snappy that we're going to be doing this, but hopefully to inspire everybody that's here, but also that's listening online, to think about how can we work around education? How can we think about training in different ways so that we prepare people for the future? That we've got people who can work on resilience, who can work on risk and uncertainty, who've got the creativity to actually sort of imagine what a future might look like, and the skills to actually drive innovations forward. First, let's then talk a little bit about the professionalization of training. It's sort of for people that are already working in the sector. As I already said, so employers find it very difficult to actually work with their staff to evidence that they've got the right skills. Employees and job seekers, they're also not entirely sort of clear on how to articulate particular skills, etc. So, and then training providers also might not necessarily be able to adapt what they're wanting to provide to reflect those changes that are coming. So we as EIT Food, we developed a competence framework of 8 core competencies that we think are crucial to drive innovation forward in agri-food, in the entire food system. So entrepreneurship, as part of the European Institute of Innovation and Technology, entrepreneurship is very important for us. That really is the engine for change. And here we're not just talking about entrepreneurship for venture creation. It is about acting entrepreneurially if you are already working in a particular organization, in a particular context, in policy, in industry. It's about actually thinking about challenges and thinking about opportunities and how to solve problems in a very practical way. So that for us is a very important one. But if we look at the overall sort of food system, it is still relatively traditional. So we might also need to think about problem solving and critical thinking, absolutely key skills if we really want to drive change forward. Then it's also really driving changes about working with others. So it's about communication and about leadership. And really being able to take people on a journey and work with them to get change going. So those are what we would call underpinning capabilities. So, other people might call them soft skills. We don't like that term because that would infer that they're kind of optional. But for us, they're actually really essential. So underpinning skills, but they don't work in isolation. We also need to think about technical skills. We need to think about those skills that are really going to make the difference the technical angle that need to be solved, the cracked. So here we're talking about food systems knowledge, looking at the food system as a system and understanding the sustainability challenges as in those terms. It's about using the latest technologies in data and AI. It's about using emerging technologies as well. So those are the technical skills that need to be sort of nurtured as well. And this is where actually over the next couple of years, one of the things that we've been tasked by the European Union is to focus on deep tech skills. So think about precision agriculture, think about AI and robotics in production, think about geosensing, etc. How can we use those technologies to drive innovations that are actually going to make a difference? So all those competencies together, those 8, those are our competency framework. And that is where we think innovators are going to need to have those skills in one or sort of to some extent into their toolbox in order to be able to drive change forward. But what we also did was to actually think about career pathways. So it's not those skills you don't immediately adopt if you follow a YouTube course or something like that. It really is about building up that knowledge. So our competence framework has 4 levels that actually you can work with and you can progress. And you start with the basics. You start with understanding some of the core concepts. And that does not take a huge amount of investment in time to actually get an understanding. But then if you become a confident practitioner, of course, you need to really experience those skills and to drive them forward. Then the third level is about mastery. It's about really becoming very strategic in how you think about driving food systems change. And the final level is about working through others. So that is where advocacy becomes very important. Mentoring, coaching, being there as a guiding light for other people. And this competence framework, we've been working with it now for sort of a while. And there we've got it. Thank you very much for that. So the way that this works is actually you can work in very tangible ways with this. So actually, if we go to the next slide, this is the way that you can imagine what someone's profile is looking like on that competency framework. So once you understand what a role might look like, you can then also see, well, where are my gaps if I want to grow into the next role? How might I actually improve myself? Where do I want to focus given a particular role? For training providers, this actually works very well because they can map their trainings against this as well. And therefore, you're starting to get this fit, this overlay of that you can sort of training providers can promise and show clearly what their trainings are going to provide and have that impact articulated. And for learners, it's very clear, but for employers, it's also very important that they get evidence back of what their staff might have been going through. So this is what we've been developing, and this is what we're now rolling out. It is in principle global, but of course we're starting with the European Union to actually get some traction there. And here I would also like to mention the Pact for Skills in agri-foods that we are working on to really work closely together with policymakers and industry to really see how we can implement such tools. This is not the only one, but it's one of the mix there. So that's on the side of professionals. So to really think about that big number. But as I said, we also want to listen and work with young people that are really kind of already taking charge of their learning, that are really focusing on developing their own methods of learning, finding their own alliances to drive their learning pathways forward. And so here I'm very pleased to welcome to the stage Thomas Westhoff. He is a master's student at the University of Wageningen in the Netherlands, but he is also the president of the International Association of Students in Agricultural and Related Sciences. And so when Thomas and I were talking about this session a little bit earlier, we were already talking a little bit more about kind of how does this work? How do you take charge of your own learning and drive this forward? So Thomas, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So yeah, first, what is EAS about? EAS is an association that has been created 65 years ago, after the Second World War. Students understood that it's very important to work together, to collaborate, like we are coming here today and these weeks together here at COP. And we are doing this. Up till now, we are present in over 100 universities in over 50 countries, connecting more than 10,000 students in agriculture. And to give a short explanation about EAS, EAS in a nutshell, I always use the AAA, which stands for Aspiration, Advocacy, and Action. First of all, aspiration. And what we discussed today already, EAS has been working with all kinds of organizations, including the FAO. Today at the Action Hub, we had the chance to bring two of the winners of the Youth for Climate Resilient Agriculture competition to the stage. We had a long process. It started in January already, but the FAO realized that it's worth to collaborate with youth organizations like us, and they signed with us for the first time a letter of agreement worth 35,000 euros. And this helped not only those students that we could support with capacity building trainings, but also student associations like us, because when we get the responsibility to work on capacity building trainings as young students, we also learn. We are also learning how to give a good training, how to set up such a big program, how to have sessions here at the climate conference. So in that sense, I see very much the value when we are thinking about creating skills, about creating capacity to work together with young people, learn from each other, and using networks like these. Secondly, advocacy. When I'm speaking now, our association is going to all the parties and are presenting our joint statement on Cornivia. This morning, I was sitting on behalf of Yongo at the Cornivia negotiation table. We are trying to get the food systems approach, where we are here all at this pavilion, into the declaration. And in that sense, I think, for example, our independent committee inside EAS, the Food and Agriculture Youth Institute, is leading the way there. And talking about skills, I think it's very important that we also learn how to engage in these kind of events, because they are not simple, they are very complex. And I'm very happy that together with the Young Professional Agriculture Network, YPART, we have made it possible to work on trainings to open for everyone, for young people to learn how to engage and bring these discussions further. And I think it's very important as young people can connect. And thirdly, action. As president, I'm leading all kind of global projects on no food waste, engaging women in agriculture, village concept projects. I can talk about that for ages, but conclusion is we have more than 25 locations ongoing projects, and that's what counts. We are expanding it with little investments, all just raising our own funds, our own capabilities, and learning along the way. So I think that are some of the examples that young people can really mobilize themselves and trying to get skills, new skills out there. So that's perspective from student sides. And yeah, very much our motto is to exchange ideas, create mutual understanding. And I'm very pleased to be here and learn from everyone, and see also so many students waiting online to participate soon. So happy to learn from them too.
Thank you very much, Thomas. So before we go listen to some students, I think there is still one other element that we like to highlight. And here I would like to invite online Diana Philip. She is the Deputy CEO and Chief Development Officer of Junior Achievement Europe. And so Diana and I have been working for sort of quite a long time. And one of the things that really has come up is the role of diversity and of gender. And so I've asked Diana to say a little bit from her perspective on the importance of that in driving skills forward. Diana, over to you.
Thank you very much, Martin. Hello, everyone in Egypt, and hello, everyone online from Europe and Africa. It is my great pleasure to be with you virtually and afar for COP27. So as Martin said, I'm very pleased to be here. For all of you who doesn't know, JA is one of the world's largest and most impactful youth serving NGOs. For over 100 years, JA has been delivering hands-on immersive learning in entrepreneurship, financial health, work readiness, sustainability, and many more. And every year, our network in Europe is reaching more than 43 members and delivering activities with 4 million student experience, and half of them are women, Martin, and I will tell you more about them later on and their role that they have. But they do learn a lot. They put in practice what they learn. They learn by doing. They are put in touch with the world of work. So this is the work of our colleagues. And when we ask these young generations what they care about, the agri-food system, sustainability, food in general are among the most popular areas, and some that the students are looking at the future career opportunities. And we have a duty for the youth to really help them be prepared, have the skills and the mindset to get into the industry and be ready to tackle all the challenges it faces. And the students that were present at the Food, they really show it that they have it right. And some of these skills we aim to transmit to the youngsters in that are self-efficacy, innovative thinking, interpersonal skills, including global citizenships, which we have contributed here with the Foodathon by bringing together students from Europe and from Africa to tackle the challenges that we put forward to them. And we know that the young generation are much more aware of the needs and benefits of gender balance at work and the need for diversity. In fact, we've seen that 2/3 of the participants at the Foodathon were girls. So out of 300 participants, 2/3 were girls. And they really, I've seen the passion, I've seen their drive, I've seen how they take charge for what they were doing. They were leading their discussion, as I was one of the mentors working with them while they were preparing their ideas. We as an organization, we do feel the responsibility to leave no one behind. And our strategy is setting up on a path to reach 100 million student experiences annually by 2050 as a global organization. And in Europe alone, 25 million. And this, we cannot do it alone. We need to really work geographic expansion, partnership, reaching underserved, working with girls, working with women, empowering them, accelerating technology, what you said, Martin, digital, and many more. And there is a lot to do to achieve gender diversity and equity in the agriculture system. But I do hope that after you will hear all the students that are waiting behind to speak, you will really see that we are in good hands and the next generation is worth our investment and commitment and the support. And we do have studies that are showing that for every euro we are investing in their education, the economy is getting 45 euros back, because those students are creating value at work and in their businesses. They get better jobs, they are much more motivated, they go and volunteer, they work with their peers, and they collaborate and support each other. So I'm very, very pleased to be with you virtually. I don't want to take too much more time, Martin, because I have a great group of students who will testify everything which I said, and I really look forward to hearing them. But I wanted to thank EIT Food for bringing us at COP27, for supporting this edition of the Foodathon. I want to thank everyone who was part of it. We have our colleagues in Africa who are working with us and our colleagues here in Europe. We had mentors from different organizations. We had judges who were working with, trying to really grasp the winner, and they didn't have an easy job. So I'm very thankful for everyone's time to be part of this event. And I don't want to take more time because I really want to hear to the students. And thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Diana. And it's just so fantastic to hear kind of the passion and energy that comes out here. And I think indeed there are sort of those kind of studies that Diana cited are so important to actually have those ideas to understand what does an investment in learning, what does this actually result? It's economics, sort of an economic way of thinking about it, but actually it can really be very powerful to convince policymakers that here it is worthwhile investing. So thank you very much for that. So now we want to focus on the Foodathon. The Foodathon is something that we started last year already during sort of the run-up to World Food Day, working with students to give them a challenge and to say, okay, now crack this. And they are pupils from in secondary school, so they are between 16 and 18 years old. They are getting challenges, they are getting mentors, and other than that, it is their creativity that really kicks in. So we'll turn to the winners from last year in a moment. But here, so the Foodathon that we are presenting the results of today here at COP, that started at World Food Day and it is finishing today. So they are kind of processes, they are not happening overnight, but they are a number of days or a number of weeks of collaboration for the students to find facts, to really imagine what the future might be look like, and then to think very concretely what the results are for this. And the power of thought that is coming out of this is amazing. We've seen students sort of come up with absolutely brilliant ideas. Not all of them necessarily winners, but ideas that are really grounded in reality and that bring some really interesting dynamics together. So here I am really pleased to introduce you to Maria, who was part of last year's Food for Thought project. They won. It was a combined project between Greece and Greek students and Ugandan students. So we made sure that they could collaborate together. So Maria, thank you for joining us. Can you give us a very brief introduction to yourself and kind of who you worked with in the Foodathon last year?
Thank you so much for having me. So I am Maria. I am one of the members of the winning team Food for Thought. So I'm actually a high school student and a very active member of JA competitions.
Thank you. And so what was special about working together with students from Uganda?
So we actually it was actually a great experience. We learned many stuff about different cultures and the way of life there. And we also realized that through entrepreneurship, we can change the world. And there are many people out there, independently of cultural background, that share the same visions with us. And we also had a chance to collaborate with some of them and make a huge impact.
Right. And now you've made us all sort of excited and intrigued. What was your winning idea?
Hello, I'm Vasilis Malasidis from Greece. I was working with Maria in Food for Thought. Well, our winning idea was the proposal of a novel food. So we proposed preparing flour based on mealworms. To be more specific, the mealworm was the species Tenebria molitor, and we expanded the dietary options of Africa, suggesting the specific novel food. Insects actually are about to play a leading role in the future of food chains, and our product, the worm flour, is supposed to be able to feed the whole planet. Actually, due to its high nutritional value, it contains a high amount of amino acids and other micronutrients, and thus it ensures the proper growth of children and the health of adults, the elderly, and generally speaking, whoever consumes it. So we suggested that product in collaboration with the University of Thessaly, as well as the collaboration with our partners from Uganda. And we were supposed to build the specific breeding farms in Uganda, where the worms were about to be bred and then mashed up to prepare the worm flour.
Brilliant. So what happened after the Foodathon?
After the Foodathon? Yes, please.
So after our victory in the competition, we realized that the idea we had potential and could be developed. So we had a meeting with the Hellenic African Chamber of Commerce, and they were also very positive about our idea. And since we wanted to reach more people in the respective industry, we decided to participate in the Social Innovation Relay. First, the Greek competition, which we won, and then we were qualified for the global final Social Innovation Relay.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
go. Yeah.
I'm sorry for interrupting. I wanted just to add that after participating in the World Finals, we won there as well. So we were invited to participate in the Genie Festival in Tallinn. So there we had the opportunity to talk with other students like us that had already prepared their own startups. And after that, we have kept communicating with the students from Uganda, and we're in the process of finding sources of funding in order to turn this idea into a real business in Uganda.
That is absolutely brilliant. And I think what for me is really inspiring is that Greek-Ugandan connection is strong. It still is there. You're still collaborating on that. So congratulations for that. So, but then I've got a question for the both of you in terms of, well, and maybe you can also answer for some of the other people in the team as well. Thinking about your future, do you think that for you now, the food system has become an interesting sector to consider as for your studies and for working in?
So to be honest, at first, when participating at Foodathon, I didn't have that really in mind. I was curious about learning about new cultures and the food chains, generally speaking. But after having this interaction with the whole food system and how important it is for humanity, we saw that the potential in this sector is huge, and that we have all in order to achieve the rise of the social prosperity, we have to strive for that. So we think that through entrepreneurship we can change the world, and that's why we want to indeed have some I'm sorry, yeah, we want to turn this into real business, and that's what we want to do.
Maria, do you want to still add something?
Yes, well, first of all, I participated because I was ready for another challenge, and this was actually a huge challenge, because after the competition, but actually during the competition, I realized that the food system are failing, and this is a huge problem to humanity. So our idea is definitely relevant, and I would also like to follow it in the future.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much. Also, thank you so much to talk about your passions here at COP27. Absolutely lovely to see you. And we'll certainly be in touch, because we, of course, want to follow what you're doing with the idea. And so thank you ever so much. We'll now move on to actually see what the teams have done now in this year's Foodathon. But thanks ever so much for coming on, and we shall see you we will keep in touch.
Thank you very
Right,
much.
now, could we have the video, please, of the pitches?
The emerging climate and environmental crisis, and the interconnected health challenges of hunger, malnutrition, and obesity call for urgent interventions. We need a mind shift in the way we produce and consume food, through better management of natural resources and food systems. To bring about new solutions and address the food systems challenges we face at a global level, a strong entrepreneurial and innovative mindset is required. This mindset must be nurtured early on in the educational cycle of talents. Now is the time to help the young generations to acquire the skills and mindset to tackle these challenges. For the second year in a row, EIT Food and JA Europe are organizing the Foodathon. More than 300 talents, aged 15 to 18 years old, from European and African secondary schools, have been challenged to come up with ideas of services or products that will make the agri-food systems more sustainable. With the support of mentors specialized in innovation, food, and education, the students have been working on their ideas since the 17th of October. The best and most innovative ideas were announced earlier today. Here are some of them. Traditional from Romania want to improve self-reliance with an online platform for local production and consumption. Yelpamat from Greece will use grape marc to produce an organic biomass and a fertilizer. AgriSynth from Uganda tackles the future of agriculture education with their online community platform. Sinji from Cyprus created a zero-waste solution to tea bags. High Five from Mauritius created a food waste management system with local food and retail actors. Molder Girls from Moldova want to produce fertilizers to manage damaged land with worm composts. Crop Data from Luxembourg tackles water usage in agriculture through data analysis and insights. Grow Kids from Mauritius create an hydroponic system that grows local healthy food. Congratulations to the next generation of agri-food problem solvers.
So as the video already showed, so we had more than 300 students work on this very hard, distributed over 52 teams. And earlier today, the 10 runners up, well, the 10 shortlisted sort of teams were being announced, which were Agrocentric from Uganda, Crop Data from Luxembourg, AgroKids from Mauritius, Gimpos Team 1 from Slovakia, Agro-Aid Technologies from Ghana, Foodzilla from North Macedonia, Hera from Moldova, Green Paper from Uganda, Yelpamak from Greece, and Moldo Girls from Moldova. And now I am very, very pleased, drum roll please, to announce you that Yelpamak from Greece won the main award. Congratulations, Yelpamak team. Could you please come on and sort of tell us what your idea is, please? Congratulations. So tell us, what is your idea?
So our idea is based on grape mark, which is basically the leftovers from the process of winemaking, which is skins, stems, and seeds of grapes. And basically through a process, we make a biomass. And then after the biomass is burned, we use the leftover ashes as fertilizer. And also a second use of the grape mark is you can make basically food coloring or not eco-friendly actually, a naturally based coloring for food, makeup, or anything else. Maybe Stella could probably add something.
Yes, as Artemis said, we separate the liquid from the solid mark. We make the colorant for food and cosmetics. After studies, we saw that the colorants have high antioxidant and antimicrobial activities, so it's safe for use and for eating. And for the solid mark, we make the biomass as an alternative for firewood, and then with the ashes, we make a fertilizer. That's the main idea.
Wonderful, thank you. So it's really completely circular with all of the waste streams looked at. So well done and congratulations for this. It's also worthwhile pointing out that your idea was the most liked by the online audience that was part of the sort of the competition as well. So really
Sorry for interrupting.
Congratulations for this. And well, we again look forward to hearing more of you. Thank you very much. Then the JAEY Award, that's the second award. That one, again, a drum roll, please, of my audience. Wonderful. That goes to Crop Data from Luxembourg. Crop Data, hands up, please, that we can bring you on screen. Congratulations, Crop Data team. So can you tell us what your idea is?
So, okay, should I start? Okay. So our idea was to work with satellites to improve water usage in the agriculture sector because in our research we found out that most of the water consumed in our world is in the agriculture sector. And we also found out that a lot of water isn't used as good as possible because there's too much water in the fields or not enough water in the fields. And without technology, we can see where there's water needed, where there isn't as much water needed, and then we can use water more sustainable. And I think Maurice can talk about our second idea we have with our product.
Yeah, so the second focus on early and accurate yield forecasting. So actually with the images provided by the satellites, we can create insights and data into what to expect from local and global production. And this will lead to a higher efficiency in daily operations of the farmers on the earth, but also decrease the volatility of food prices.
That is amazing. Thank you very much. And you already then heard me mention deep tech skills. You're really on the deep tech skill of the deep tech field here, which is really interesting as well. So congratulations again. Very well done. And again, we will look forward to following you what happens after the Foodathon. But now we still would like to talk to some other students as well. So I'd like to ask the Team Safe Food from Germany. Team Safe Food, could you identify yourself, please? Hands up, please. No, Team Safe Food might not be there. Team Think Solutions from Uganda, are you there? No, doesn't look like it either. Team Nutcare from Ghana, are you there? No. Team for Food from Serbia. Yes, Team for Food from Serbia. You're here. That's great. Thank you very much. So what was why did you take part in the Foodathon?
So we wanted to be part of an organization that brings together young people who have the desire to bring change with their ideas, to spread awareness about the necessity of taking action, and even help preserve the planet. We believe that it is important that the voice of young people who are the future is heard and that it can positively influence the lives of future generations.
Wonderful, thank you very much. And so through this process, what did you learn about the food system?
So we learned how big a problem food waste really is, also what is needed to bring a product to the market and how to organize a company. Looking at the ideas of other teams, we learned about some other problems in the agricultural system, such as water consumption, the problem of lack of arable land. We also learned how harmful the emission of harmful gases actually is to agriculture, and in what ways we can solve this problem, above all in the case of methane and ammonia.
Wonderful, thank you very much. So what skills do you think that you developed throughout the Foodathon?
Well, we mainly learned a lot of professional business terms with the help of which we improved our knowledge in English language. We have improved in public speaking and got rid of stage fright a bit. We also have upgraded technical skills such as editing a video, creating complex presentations, and etc. We developed our social communication and team spirit, but specifically working under pressure.
Well, yes, and under pressure, it certainly was, but very well done for that. Thank you ever so much for that. Team Rap Eat from Uganda, are you here with us? You identify yourself?
Yeah.
No?
Yes.
Any of
Yes,
the other
we are.
that I indicated? No, unfortunately, I don't think so. But looking at the time, I think
Yes, we are available.
you are available. Right, wonderful. Thank you. Why was it important to be a part of the Foodathon this year?
I think it was important for us to be part of the Foodathon this year because Foodathon highlights the missions and the goals that we, as the RAPID, stand for. We want to create change in the food sector through developing sustainable and development criteria or ways of how we can bring about change in the food sector. So taking part in the Foodathon was important for us because it helps us realize our goals and missions.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And then I still have one further question for you. So when you're thinking about solutions and kind of the problems that you see and solutions, has the Foodathon helped you to think differently about the problems that you see around you?
Oh, definitely it has. Foodathon has made us realize that there's not only one way of solving an issue, but there's various ways of solving an issue. We've learned how to be flexible with the way we think. We can't only think in one way, and every idea that we've come up with is definitely a solution to the problems facing the food sector today.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And thank you ever so much for being able to be here with us on at COP. It is unbelievable how international this is. And I'm really pleased that we've been able to make this work from a tech perspective as well. So tech people, thank you very much for this. So I would like to now invite Salvatore Nigro, who is the CEO of Junior Achievement Europe, to say a couple of closing words on this. But for all of the students that participated, very, very well done, and congratulations to you all.
Thank you so much, Martin. Thank you so much for this interesting panel, this interesting Foodathon. Well, first of all, let me congratulate once again Yelpamak from Greece for winning the Foodathon, Crop Data from Luxembourg for the JAEY award, and the Public Choice Awards for FoodMob from Greece. I think they are still there, FoodMob from Greece. So congratulations to you two for winning the Public Choice Award. Martin, me and you navigated various meetings, conferences, seminars, summits. I had always the feeling that decision makers talks about the future without engaging those one who will live in the future. And this has been very different in the collaboration that we had with EIT in the Foodathon and at COP27, because we really not only gave voice to the young people, as you could all listen to them over the past few minutes, but over the past month. But we actually challenged the young people about how do they envision the future in which one they are going to live, how they think they're going to solve the challenges of the world in which they are living with. So for the youth, it has been a tremendous experience. I've seen how they work together, they learn from each other, and this is how we can really make great societies. But also for adults too, for all of us, for the volunteers who have mentored the young people, the volunteers that we got from the businesses, and they gave back. So we were all young, and now it was our turn to give back by mentoring this greatest idea of the young people. I'd like to really thank the volunteers who coached the students, the judges who had a very difficult task. It was so difficult. I mean, we had over 300 young future entrepreneurs who responded to the challenges, who came up with all brilliant ideas. It was a very difficult task for the judges. I want to thank the EIT colleagues, EIT Food colleague, EY, definitely, JAEY Africa and JAEY Europe team who have worked so hard. And talking about partners, I know that we have a message from Julie Tigland, which is the managing director for EMEA at EY. I don't know if we can play that video.
Thank you, Salvador. And we're getting the video up at the moment.
Hey, thanks, Salvatore. Hi, I am Julie Teigland. I'm the Area Managing Partner for Europe, Middle East, India, and Africa for EY. I'm also our global leader for our Women Fast Forward program. Most importantly, I am a proud board member of JA Europe. I'm just coming back from COP27, full of hope, inspiration, and ideas on how we can tackle climate change. Speaking of ideas, I want to recognize the incredible solutions on the key issue of food security. Hundreds of students across Europe and Africa have put forward many of these to the JA Foodathon, funded by the EIT. Congratulations to all the participants, and of course, the winning team. I believe that young people are the biggest catalyst for change. I've been so impressed by the variety and the quality of the ideas submitted. That's why I really think you all deserve a further platform to be heard. And in this spirit, we encourage those students who submitted their ideas to the JA Foodathon to put forward their ideas to Farm to Fork. This Farm to Fork is the EY Global Ideathon on food security, and it launched just a few days ago around the world. An ideathon is like a hackathon, but without the hacking. It's a virtual competition of ideas. The Farm to Fork Ideathon focuses on 3 key challenges: farm, agriculture and food production; 2, food processing and distribution; 4, food consumption. Among the ideas submitted, we will have 2 special recognitions for those ideas submitted from young people. And specifically, JA students will have a further chance to be recognized and win an exciting experience that's going to not only boost your real personal profile, but also your idea. This is an award that EY decided to offer together with the EIT and JA. We want to make sure that young people are rewarded and motivated to have an active role in building our future. So don't wait. Submit your idea today through the link shared in the chat. I also want to remind all those people watching us that the Ideathon is open to everyone, everywhere. We're really keen to collect ideas from any part of the world. Food security is a real global issue and a critical threat to our future. Working together today on food security is one of the biggest opportunities we have to reverse climate change and create a healthier, more sustainable future planet for all. Just to conclude, I want to congratulate JA Europe for the outstanding leadership, not only on the subject, and Martin and the entire EIT food team for their vision on such a key issue. Thank you, and back to you, Sal.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Julie Teigland, the proud board members of JA Europe. And as she said, of course, this could not happen without the solid and growing relationship that we have with EIT Food, Martin, with whom we work a lot to empower the next generation. This is just the real tip of the iceberg and the beginning of more and more collaboration to come. I wanted to thank you, Martin, personally. I want to thank Mario. I want to thank Andy Zinga. I want to thank all the EIT people who made it happen. Thanks to the fantastic support that you have given, the voice, the challenge, and most important, the opportunities to the young people to have their voice heard. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sal. Absolutely lovely working with you for next year. I think we've got a date in the calendar already. So thank you to all of the students, first of all. Thank you to all the mentors. Thank you to JA, Europe and Africa. And thank you to Thomas to come here and to share his ideas. And yeah, it's been amazing. Thank you ever so much for livening this up and making talking about skills fun. So with that, I would like to close it here. Many thanks to all of you here and online. And we will continue this conversation in multiple fora the way we can do it. Thank you very much and good night.